Right, going back to something you we're speaking on earlier, was talking about the imposter syndrome. So how is that affecting the Black and Asian community within fintech?
That's a good question, actually. The reason why I say that is because what's clear is if anybody is placed anywhere and the people in that place are not the same as you for one reason or another, you're going to try to fit in. And as part of that fitting in, the science of fitting in is that you didn't fit in the first place. So therefore, you're now maneuvering to fit in.
Agreed, yeah.
Which makes you feel like you're fraudulent. When in fact, none of that's the case. This is all in your mind because these firms are aware who you are before they offer you your contract. So therefore, when you get into the role, you're doing what they expected of you, and even more so. I do see a lot of ideas, and especially in the fintech realm, because it's again, it's around the computer a lot, that involves a lot of the Black and Asian community, and a lot of the build is done by the Black and Asian community. In fact, a lot of these fintech operations wouldn't be able to operate without the touchdown in Trivandrum or somewhere like that in India, for an example, who are dealing with a lot of background in regards to how the fintech works. It wouldn't survive without that. And a lot of the ideas in regards to the build, it's young, entrepreneurial-minded Black guys who have joined the firm and have given those ideas. Now, of course, the firm owns the build, but because people like myself may well be in the inside, I can give brother man a pat on the back. But in regards to industry-wide, that's just going to be another thing delivered by the firm. No one's going to know, Dwayne Francis, who designed it originally and put the codes together originally, created the idea originally, because that's the firm, and that's one way of kind of looking at it. And it's like a good, from like the head of the business perspective, that's a good kind of place to kind of have it, because these people were so what's the right word? The kind of that imposter syndrome that they have makes them feel like they're always trying to prove themselves. They're always trying to appear not fraudulent, even though they're doing nothing wrong. In fact, they're doing things extremely right. But because of that proof, now they've missed the fact that actually you're patterning the whole thing. And I guess from the head is kind of a good place to be, because you're always trying to please somebody you've done please long time already. They're very more than happy with you, but now they've got you in a place where you're always trying to chase the carrot and please who you don't really need to please in that regard. You just need to go in there and do your job like you said you're going to do it. You know what I mean? And so I see sometimes a lack of confidence in that regard to kind of stand out. So they like to do the good work and get the pat on the back, but maybe not necessarily to stand out and say, I mean this. It kind of don't go like that. Yeah, there's sometimes there's what's the word? I mean, like, the perspective that there's no I in team, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so there's no I in team. However, it's a double-edged sword. I mean, I don't really want to kind of say that black guys don't get their accolade for what they do in fintech. That is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that it's really hard to kind of place it. I think because of the mentality of a lot of the black guys is to please those who are already at the top, which is the old boys club.
Yeah.
I think that they miss exactly what they're doing exactly for the firm. And then when you kind of check it, yes, the old boys club has made money, but a lot of the new money has actually come from your ideas. So this is what I'm trying to put out to the Black and Asian community that are behind a lot of these fintech. It's your ideas. But the brand itself belongs to the old boys club, and what comes with the brand is that investment muscle. So, you know, everybody kind of plays their part, and that's brilliant. But a lot of the part of what not the old boys club, but the new black boys club, it doesn't really get publicized. Now I'm seeing lots of great changes in regards to that, and not just in Black History Month either. There's a lot of changes to kind of normalize it. The reaction to the death of George played a strong part as well. I noticed that.
Yeah.
That made things more, you know, more black awareness in regards to fintech and stuff like that.
Okay.
Whereas because fintech is what it is, it's easy for the old boys club then to kind of keep their brand, their name, and all of that, and don't even talk about who's behind it because it's fintech, right? You know, we've got a gang of people, and a lot of people in fintech are of all different colors, shapes, and sizes. But I think that the way how it's been mastered, like kind of put together as, I'm speaking across the board in regards to these firms, is that, you know, as long as you've got the brand, you don't really need to kind of highlight. And let me put it this way to land then. If there wasn't the imposter syndrome there, if there wasn't people feeling like they shouldn't be there and they should be there in that trajectory, then the accolades and achievements that have been won by the Black and Asian community in fintech will be enough for those young coming up to all want to dabble in fintech. But the fintech journey is not as popular because, you know, you don't really hear about that anywhere in regards to, what's black people doing in fintech? You're not really hearing about that. When in fact they're doing loads, is my point. But maybe because they do have, even with their accolades and achievements, they do have this imposter syndrome. Because even though they're doing great things and getting a pat on the back by the old boys club, it is still exactly that, the old boys club. And that's how it stands. Yeah. Really.
Yeah, I'm glad you clarified that for me, you know, because like I said, it's just me and my phone, and I don't really know what's going on the institutional side. And it's just reassuring to know that, you know, we are respected in that sector, along with women, do you know what I mean, and other people of color as well, and that we're not just pushed out, do you know what I mean? So no, thanks for clearing that up.
I mean, it's on the opposite. Not pushed out, we're needed. This fintech machines are not going to survive without us. Yeah, we are needed for that.
Because process. I know India's kind of covered, because just on the side that they get cheap labor, these big companies, when they push certain things out to India, whether it's call centers or tech support and all of that. Do you know what I mean? But as for being employed here, I didn't know what the representation was. So yeah, thanks for clearing that up. Still.
So, well, what that adds to it as well is that you're giving international employment to minorities, they like to call it, you know. Whereas India, how can that be a minority? It's a very big place with a lot of people.
Exactly.
But sometimes it's hard to point the phrase or the term, so I get it. They have a tough time with it. But basically, you know, so they're having to take an accolade saying that, you know, they're giving opportunities to build in communities, you know, communities on the bill. So, you know, you say everything except highlight the fact that, you know, you can get free stuff for the price of one if you kind of do it that way. So, yeah, you kind of, you know, they don't highlight that. But the fact is, even when they get free stuff for the price of one, those free stuff are still making loads more money than their counterparts in their home countries.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're enslaving these people because they're getting 2/3 less than what they would get if they worked in the UK. Do you know what I mean? If they worked in the UK, you'd be spending 2/3 more on what you need to live in the UK. So you know, it all balances out in that regard. And the reason why I kind of just highlight that is because I didn't want you to kind of just think like, you know, there's just one side to this. Yes, it's good that they're kind of giving international regions an opportunity, but also as part of that opportunity, yes, you would end up getting cheaper labor than what you would get in other countries. You know, call a spade a spade. Even though that they will be paying them more than what other, you know, places that are doing the same thing are paying them. So you're never gonna get like a dispatches report or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, you know, people on the computers, you know, mining crypto for these big companies and not getting next to nothing or whatever. No, compared to their region, they are handsomely paid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, that's
and I see that when I Zoom with some of them. Do you know what I mean? When I Zoom with some of them, you know, you kind of just clock their game a little bit, and it's like, oh, right, they're doing all right. Even some of the people that I knew, you know, that I may have trained in some compliance aspects, and you know, now I'm doing a catch up with them, and you know, even the you know, their close game has kind of gone up a little bit, whereas it was a little bit, you know, not shaky before, but you kind of more prim and proper. I know what it is. Yeah, so yeah, you know, your first couple of paychecks came through, you get me? You're looking nice. Yeah. You know what I mean? You get me? Got a nice whip outside, you know. It's, you know, it is what it is. You can see that feeling, you know, and that zeal to work. You know, if you're getting a good salary, you've got that zeal to kind of put in good work. But yeah, you're not even just trying to put in the clock numbers. You actually want to do a better job than your last job every time. You know, that's the zeal to work. So there is that. Sorry, I ran off. What was your question?
No. You answered that perfect, fam.
Cool.
You answered that perfect. I got everything I needed out of that still.